Welcome to MTG Ectoplasm, your home for Spirit Tribal and Magic the Gathering. On this special episode, I got a Spirit Master for you. He's going to join us in a little bit, but I'm Dwight. I'm your host, also called D Blanco. You can follow me on Twitter at MTG Ectoplasm, or you can email me directly at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. Like I ask each and every single episode, do me a favor, hit that follow, like, subscribe button. I could be over here or over there or maybe somewhere down here. I have no clue. So wherever you're streaming this, do me a favor. I'm not charging you anything. Not a dime, a peso, a ruby, an inti, nothing. I'm not charging you nada. So how could you beat that? And also, ladies and gentlemen, tell your friends and family. If you like Magic the Gathering and they like Magic the Gathering, how can you beat this? Free Magic the Gathering. It doesn't get better than that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to the person who's driving the show, my engineer, the Ravishing One. Say hello, Ravishing.
Hi,
There you go. I'm the Ravishing Renata. How you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling pretty good.
There you go. So she just had yoga class, so she's all stretched out and limber to start the episode. So with that being said, this episode was brought to our friends at Greg's Games, 2103 White House, Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Let me just tell you, it's a great little shop based near Trenton. You can, if you're in the Philadelphia area, you can come over the bridge and hang out there. You can take the one bridge, what the makes and take Trenton makes and the World Takes bridge. You can do that, and you'll have a great time there. They have Magic the Gathering. They got Pokemon. You can buy your decks, sleeves, card holders. They have tabletop games like Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons. You name it, they have it. It's a moral imperative, and they made the shop even larger. So that's telling you this shop ain't no joke. You got to check them out. Greg's Games. When you're there, tell them, hey, I heard about you on MTG Ectoplasm, and he told me to tell you hello. So check out Greg's Games, 2103 White Horse, Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 8619. Now that the pleasantries are over and said and done with, let me just tell you, I'm excited. This young man came to me today. He goes, you know what? Dwight, I'm ready for you. I want to come on the show today. And I was like, really? You humbly, I'm humbled. Thank you. With that being said, this is the third time I've had this young man on. He has great insight in the world of Magic. Also, he's a spirit master. You can't beat that, ladies and gentlemen. You can find him at Rearranged at Us on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. It's the one, the only, the incomparable Andre Segarra. How you doing there, my friend Andre?
Hey, what's good, Dwight? What's good, Spirit Squad? How's everybody doing?
There you go, the Spirit Squad. I love how you say that. It just rolls off the tongue, just chef's kiss. So how you been? Everything going well?
Oh yeah, doing good. So for anybody who doesn't know, I have a new work schedule, which means not playing too much Magic, but I have been playing Spirits when I have been playing Magic, so we've got some bits to talk about there. Oh, I didn't say hi to Mrs. Renata, so hello to you as well.
Hello.
Yeah, she's the disembodied voice, the lingering spirit that's in the background that does her thing.
Yeah, I guess technical apparition. Yeah, we can still appreciate it.
There you go. We need a vehicle that's also a spirited vehicle. See,
that'd be sweet. I'm here for that.
And draws cards. We need draw
cards.
Yeah.
Oh god. Oh yes. Yes.
Driven by Peekaboo. But that's no here or there. So Andre, let's start with the show, shall we? Yeah. Where do you want to go? I have several ideas where I want to go.
I think there's a lot to talk about today. So I played an IRL tournament this weekend that we can totally talk about. There's a new subset of spirit lists that I haven't even gotten to play yet, but I have checked out, and those are exciting.
Very interesting.
And there's new sets that have come out since we've last talked. So yeah, lots of stuff. Where do you want to start?
Well, I got to go with the first spot, Lurrus. Okay, I have to go there. It's a moral imperative. Let's pick this. When Watsy decided to sit there and ban Lurrus, the Dream Den, Lurrus of the Dream Den, shall I say. Basically, they took Modern and they turned it into a snow globe and they shook it up and just said, here, have fun.
They did.
What do you think about the banning? Was it the right thing?
I think a Lurrus ban, or at least a change so that Lurrus was nowhere near as effective, was really, really long overdue. And it was pretty clear, like, the first time that the companions came out, everybody was talking about Ikoria, and the companions were easily the most busted thing probably printed in ever. So they had to, of course, nerf it because companions were basically omnipresent. And then Lurrus was still the best card in Modern post nerf. So, stuff started to get really wild. And then we had a few weeks in a row where, and I told you I've been actually keeping up a little bit, just not playing as much. We
You're
had
forgiven.
one week where one of the Modern challenges, all 4 spots went to Grixis Shadow, or maybe that was a Super PTQ, but either way, some relatively large Modern tournament.
Right.
All 4 spots of the top 4 went to Grixis Shadow with Lurrus. And then immediately after that, first and second were both Hardened Scales decks piloted by Lurrus as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, well, if this card is this omnipresent, then we haven't done enough. Like the nerf of having to pay 3 mana to buy Lurrus, it's still the best card in the entire format.
Right. So how do you think? Like me personally, it makes me jovial. It makes me giddy that Lurrus is gone. But there's one other card I would have preferred. Well, no, I'm okay with Lurrus. Michelle's like, yeah, Lurrus is gone. Happy about that. But there's one card. It's that Ragavan, that monkey.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, are we talking about Rags?
Yeah, Ragavan. Come on, Watsy. If you're gonna do for monkeys, you gotta do for the spirits. One for one. You gotta hook a brother up. That's all I'm gonna say.
He's still trying for peekaboo, y'all.
I need a peekaboo. I don't. You don't even have to use my face or my character or my fatness. Just a peekaboo. Just a humble peekaboo. Give me a 0. I'll take it as 0-1. I'll take a 0-1 peekaboo. But
okay, that's much more in the realm of, I guess, reasonableness.
I prefer 1/1 flyer that has peak.
Honestly, if they put that as a 1/1, I would definitely play 4 in every list I found. And if a judge let me get away with it, I would probably try for 6.
Well, you got glass. What the glass? The world glass pull mimic.
Oh yeah. There we go. We can copy it. Just kind of redraw cards and turn through your deck a little bit while still drawing all the good flying stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, just a humble 1/1. Just a humble 1/1. Yeah, you can get it with gut shot, or it could die to friction. Whatever that causes negative. Friction negator. Not negator. What is it? Engineer. Plague engineer.
Oh, plague engineer.
There you got that one. Gets killed by that. Okay, fine. I understand. It happens. Excrement happens.
No, I just realized Lurrus leaving the format means there's going to be a lot more plague engineers again. Ew.
Yep, and of course, our favorite young lady, she's coming back, Liliana of the Veil. More than likely, we'll see return.
So that actually is exactly one thing I think I do want to start to segue, because decks have changed a lot, obviously, without Lurrus, and people are, instead of almost moving forward with the format and trying to figure out what things can we play with the same powerful things that we're used to, it almost feels like the format's kind of moving backwards, and people are just going back to decks that they were familiar with. And one of the biggest proprietors of that, as always, is Jund, because let's be real, I'm not sorry for saying this, Jund pilots, but they've been trying to play the same 6 cards since like 1902. And this means that, people are putting Liliana of the Veil back in sleeves. And even in the IRL tournament I was playing at this last weekend, I saw a bunch of Liliana of the Veils in tables, and I'm just like, what are you guys doing? Yep, this card is still a thing that exists. Okay, we're doing this again. But
I'll tell you, I got my ass handed to me by Jund, but they had Lurrus in there. There's a Lurrus Jund deck, and it's like, are you effing kidding me? I could not beat it because I'll take out Ren and 6. Oh, guess what? Ren and 6 comes back. It's like,
yeah, it's obnoxious, but no more.
No,
we don't have to worry about the Lurrus version of Jund Sagavan or whatever they were calling it. That's not really a thing. Exactly. Yes, a big fist pump. I mean, you still have to worry about the obnoxious giant pile of removal that it's always Jund, but it's much less annoying
Right. So what do you think of the current meta right now? It seems like
Um,
still stuff is still shaking out, but I'm saying Mark Tide mid range is still the top deck. What's a Hammer Time is still there, but it's not. I think without Lurrus, I think they're more nervous about playing the deck. I expect personally, I expect to see more Heliod combo back because the fact that it was not running Lurrus, and also I hate to tell you, I like spirits in this meta. I really like spirits right now.
I mean, what am I going to do? Argue against that?
You can. I'm you can go to wait. You're praying a little. You're going up a hill that's too high. Just relax. Take it easy.
Right. Um, no, so I mean, this is not going to be like one of those formats that's anywhere near as good for us as it was when Earl was alive.
No, no,
But
no, 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 no.
but I still think that the format is certainly improving for us because we no longer have the omnipresent Lurrus meta of everything needs to either be really fast or really slow or really grindy. And people are now going to be allowed to play with decks that are trying to, put together piece A plus piece B to make a deck. And those are really the kind of things that we prey on. So what I was thinking that we were going to end up seeing over the course of this weekend was a lot more of the return of like cascade decks, like a little bit more popular stuff like Rhinos, a little more living, and maybe some dredge here and there again, because when was the last time anybody saw that?
Mm-mm.
Um
I
stuff
expected more death in taxes, and I have not seen any death in taxes. Thank God, but
um in another deck that I expected to see a little more play was the persist deck, the one that revives Archon of Cruelty. That's his name.
Okay, yeah, I know which one. I just faced that. What was it? I think I faced it 2 nights ago. I
Oh, see?
smashed the hell out of it. Let me just tell you,
Exactly.
they had no clue. I mean, I had the John Joe, the Seat of the Empire. I ran 2 in there.
Oh,
But let me just tell you.
I get to talk about that card a little.
Mm, mm,
Mm,
mm, Bravo, Watsy. Thank you,
yeah,
thank
yeah,
you, thank
I
you.
got you sweet.
Uh, you know,
Um,
we'll get to that. I know you're excited, but wow, just
yeah,
wow.
yeah. We haven't really gotten much in the way of direct spirit support
Mm-mm.
lately, but our secondhand support has been great.
Mm-hmm. I
It's
mean, this what upsets me is like I keep on saying, 2021 was the year of the spirit. We got spirits in Kaldheim. We ended up getting spirits in what that college said, like the Hogwarts set,
Strixhaven, yeah.
Strixhaven. We ended up getting just maybe 2 or 3 in the Dungeons and Dragons, and then of course we got Innistrad, both Innistrads, Midnight Hunt and the Crimson Vow, and there were spirits there. And then of course here we go into Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It's spirits again. I mean, we have literally, as a tribe, been blessed with spirits. Unfortunately, none that go in our decks.
It's true. Like lots and lots and lots of spirits, and with the exception of Ascendant Spirit, almost none have actually like made a name for anything. We've
No,
had some that have seen like some cool secondhand play, like Cemetery Illuminator's pretty good. I've been playing here and there with Spectral Adversary, and
they're great in Pioneer, great in the mono
oh,
blue
they're
snow build.
all three of
Oh,
those cards are amazing in Pioneer. And
I would
even
like
just some
someone to try it. I would love somebody to have the testicular. Well, sorry, let me rescind that. Gonadal fortitude, because who knows, anybody can have particular gonads. So gonadal fortitude to play mono blue snow in modern. I just want to see if someone has the courage to do it.
Mm,
Just saying. I've been saying it for a while. The Bant is great. We have the Zorius. That's wonderful. We got to shake things up. We got to, add a little spice here, a little, salsa, a little adobo. What can we do to shake things up? And the young man, D-Star shook it a lot up. That's all I'm going to say about that.
that is definitely a thing that happened. I was very excited to see that list.
Well, let's
Like,
talk about it.
cool,
Let's
will
shy
do.
around it.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're unaware and been like sleeping under like a rock or something, a young man named D-Star, he was on the show last episode. Young man from Sweden. All right. They're known for their IKEA furniture, the meatballs, and the swimsuit models. He ended up making this Yorion Spirits deck, Azorius deck. Oh my lord, what a wonderful deck. And it came out of nowhere. It came in 5th place in a modern challenge. I I was hoping somebody would take the uh, challenge to change it up, but he admit he got inspired by Nikachu MTG, well, a good friend of ours, who does a show every Monday morning at I guess 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me just tell you, that deck is mean. It's the real deal. And now he just changed it up where he replaced certain lands, and now he's running Urza Saga in the deck. And I forgot to mention he's actually running 3 Aether Vials. I was like, really? You actually put Aether Vials in this time? And he likes it. He actually went 4-1.
Nice, good.
So what do
Now,
you think of the deck?
so the overall premise of the deck, I actively like. So for anybody who hasn't seen the base list, I guess, what D-Star did was take your regular blue-white spirit shell, and of course you have to add 20 cards to it to make Yorion a thing. So what he did was put in a bunch of removal into the deck. He played in a bunch of Solitudes, a bunch of Prismatic Endings, and I think he was playing some number of March of Otherworldly Light as well.
He also put in Subtlety, just so you know.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. 4 Solitudes, 4 Prismatic Endings, and I want to say 4 March of Otherworldly Light as well as putting Kira's back into the deck. And I think he had 4 copies of Spectral Sailor in the first version of the deck that did not play any copies of Urza Saga.
Right.
But with Urza Saga, you take out the sailors and instead you play things like, Aether Spellbomb, Soul Guide Lantern, Aether Vials, of course. And the first version of the list straight up didn't play any Aether Vials at all. It was just, here's some mana, here's some spirits, good luck dealing with my stuff. And as you see by the 5th place result he got, people could not deal with the stuff.
I think it came out of nowhere. People were just like, what the hell is this? And just
right?
There you go.
And then the other part of the innovation that he did, because that's not 20 whole cards, right? He did take a page from Nikachu, like you mentioned, and again with the Yorion, he put in 4 copies of Subtlety into the main as well. And I don't know if you remember, that's a card I've been pushing since the spoiler for Modern Horizons 2. Like,
yeah, you called it the Force of Will.
Yeah. And I told people, I was like, look, Force of Will has never been an actually good card. It's a necessary card sometimes. And the fact that it's flying just happens to be on theme. So would I recommend it for every deck? Absolutely not. But would I recommend it for our deck that already wants flash flyers? Absolutely. So the fact that it's showing up in force in decks like ourselves, in decks like Merfolk, I mean, I don't know. I told you so. Like, like it's one of those things it does exactly a thing that we have already wanted to do for years.
Right.
And even like a subpar spell queller 5 through 8 is still pretty good when the other person on the other side of the table is casting things like Primeval Titans.
Right.
The less they get to play Magic, the better our deck looks.
Well, let me ask you, like, I asked Nikachu this question on his show. I was like, what are your thoughts on the March of the Otherworldly Light? I was one of the cards. I saw that card originally, and I'm like, this is a great card, but there's a huge drawback, with the fact that if you discard a white card, it gives you that 2x, free 2x. So I'm like, it's good, it's interesting, I like it a lot, but I don't know about spirits. He's actually proving me wrong. What is your thoughts?
I absolutely love that card. So a lot of the problems that March solves are problems that either we cannot solve naturally or things that we don't mind paying a big price to solve. So in the example where you get to just pay 1 mana and get rid of an Urza Saga, that is clearly the best application of March of Otherworldly Light. Like you just you get a 1 mana instant speed land destruction, middle finger to your opponent, they cry about it, and there's really nothing they can do, which is great because that's exactly what we want. We want them doing nothing. So in the matches against decks like Hammer Time and stuff, where
I'm sorry, the dog, my dog just heard a card. It's a
You know,
pug. Hold on, give me 1 second. I gotta yell at the dog. Okay.
see, and this is going to be my 2 seconds where I'm going to complain because the card Spirited Companion is a dog and not a spirit and not a companion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can sense that the dog in the background was going to let me have some excuse to complain about that, because we're going to talk about new cards later.
Yes.
But
Yes, we are.
but March of Otherworldly Light, I actively love it. Right, like it's really good
Okay.
against Hammer Time. It's really good against Urza Saga itself, and it is subpar but still instant speed removal against most of the other things where you still would want that kind of effect, right?
Right.
Where, say, the example of Rags, for example, a card we just talked about. So your opponent plays a Rags on the play, right? And then you take your turn one, you play a Prismatic Ending. Well, in that scenario, your opponent can still just dash a second copy of Rags and you're still back at square one, right? Like
Right.
you're just still getting hit, they're still taking cards, they're still making treasure, you're still behind. But
Mhm.
with a March of Otherworldly Light, even if you have to pay 2 mana, then that's still okay. You're still getting rid of the same problem that they're either paying mana to dash in or just, casting and trying to hold up like Consider Bolt or whatever.
Right.
But also as spirits players, how often have we just said, okay, here's a Selfless Spirit, I'm going to trade Selfless Spirit with Rags? That's still 2 mana to deal with the same Ragavan. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we just have it on a spell and not necessarily on a body is, I think, acceptable. And the fact
Okay.
that you can pitch a few cards or just pay a bunch of mana to solve bigger problems like Primeval Titan, Murktide Regent, or I don't know, like Thought Not Seer, if anybody's still playing that in 2022.
Mm.
Any of the bigger problems that people are presenting to us, we at least have the option to solve those things as well. It's
Right.
not like, a 1 mana all the time thing like Path to Exile is, but Path sucks. I don't want to give them a land.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know. So the fact that like sometimes it's a medium pitch removal, that part's like, again, it's medium, but like
Right.
Solitude is already a pitch removal spell sometimes.
Right.
Subtlety is already a pitch force of will sometimes. Like we're already doing this kind of thing. So the fact that we have more options, except it has the wild upside of getting rid of Urza Saga, I love it.
Okay. The way you like, I was gonna buy into the card. Now you sold me. It's like a moral imperative. Now I have to go buy a playset. Thank you. Just like I was just gonna
I
buy
will
two.
say
Just
you're welcome to you. I will say I'm sorry to Renata.
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, thanks.
Because she knows my deck is completely foiled out, and like I
Yeah.
just can't have the regular art. I have to have the alternate art. So I just
I
can't.
mean, I can't say anything. I'm not much better in that regard. I don't happen to like foils, but I do still like to get all the cool arts for my things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you have to understand. Just like it's just when you're playing against their opponent, next thing you know, they see all these foils, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like,
Oh yeah. I
oh,
like it's an intimidating look. You see somebody with all foils and you're like, "Oh no, this person clearly knows what they're doing. They've been playing this deck for years. Otherwise, why would they have this entire thing foiled?"
exactly. And you should have seen when I played the young lady. Her name was, I believe, was Jasmine at
Yeah.
the SEG Philly, and she was playing 8 whack.
Okay.
And I was just like, and she sees like, "Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, that's so pretty." Like, is your whole deck that way? I was like, yeah, it is.
Nice.
Here's my masterpiece Aether Vial. Yeah, don't worry about that. Just there it is.
Yeah. Don't blow it up with Smash Smithereens. Don't worry about it. It's not there.
And she actually did that, unfortunately.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
a
You're supposed
cheapy
to hit her
card.
with a Jedi mind trick.
No, she did it, and I'm like,
Oh,
great, a cheap ass card destroyed my wonderful expensive card.
oh yeah.
Yes,
That's
awful,
yeah.
awful. So, what else did you like about this Yorion deck? Like me, like, would you use Yorion for his ability, like bouncing? Like,
Um, honestly, I think the enter the battlefield part of Yorion is probably the least exciting part of the Yorion. Because
okay,
most of the things that would normally have enter the battlefield effects are ones that we don't necessarily care about at sorcery speed when you're just casting a Yorion. Yeah,
right,
sure, it's cool when you're getting it off an Aether Vial and doing all that. But honestly, you just get to start off with an 8th card in hand, even if you have to buy it for 3 mana. That's
okay,
good enough. A big
mm-hmm.
4/5 flyer that's bigger than our entire deck. That's on theme. That's great.
Mhm.
It's on color. That's great. We don't have to make any mana related sacrifices to play Yorion. So that's cool. And then the occasional times when you get the upsides of having Yorion either at instant speed via Aether Vial or with the cool things like Solitude that D-Star put in the deck, well,
Mhm.
that's all upside. You get to basically play a Death and Taxes-esque plan, and well, who doesn't like that, you know?
Mhm.
The Legacy deck is already doing that. They're already replaying Solitudes, replaying Skyclave Apparitions,
Mhm.
you know, blinking out things like Spell Queller if they have Teferi on the table to permanently get rid of those spells. So, like, there's a lot of applications to Yorion that even like we were already happy with a 4/5 flyer, and
Right.
then you just get occasional upside. Cool. I'm all about it.
You can't beat it. I love the direction this young man went. Love it. But what other cards besides that caught your eye? Just curious.
Yeah. So we get
Let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, so we get to talk about our accidental support then. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be the channel lands. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, everybody in their moms was talking about Beseju because, well, Beseju
Well,
is
yeah.
busted. Like it, it's I don't know, Busteju. It's because it's busted. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like, but Otawara and Iganjo are both really, really fantastic cards.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who like saw me going over my little overviews of all the cards coming out of Neon Kamigawa, at Neon Dynasty
Right.
Kamigawa, would see just like how hype I was for both of these things. I'm just like, yep, I am aware that Iganjo is 3 mana to sometimes solve a 1 mana problem. I do not care. I'm excited. And Otawara was even more exciting if I got to do literally nothing other than get rid of Shark Typhoon tokens and Pioneer. That was enough.
Mm-hmm.
Anything above that is all sugar on top, cherries with syrup, just
Okay.
extra stuff. All I saw was the fact that, oh, cool, I can pay 4 mana and get rid of Shark Typhoon tokens and Pioneer. Perfect. I don't need to hear anything else about this card. And then they came in untapped, painless.
Yep.
What's to not like?
They're free spells. They're absolute
They're,
free spells and cannot be countered.
they're so good. Like both
Like
of the
I was thinking, like Spell Queller can get it. No, Spell Queller cannot get it because it's not a
no.
spell. You're not casting it.
No, the only thing that, like, say, an opposing spirits player can do about it is put in something that gives hexproof in response to one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
list. You
it.
can't counter it. Like, no Geistlight Snare, no Spell Queller, no Lofted Denial, none of that.
Nope. Like, let me ask you. You're the spirit master, okay? I'm climbing up the ladder slowly. Let's be honest. Beseju
Hmm.
in Bantex. I'm thinking 2.
I don't know about 2. I do like the idea of 1 and 1 in the board if the format of Modern skews towards artifact and enchantment based decks like Amulet Titan, like Hammer Time, stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't mind playing 1, but even that 1 might have to come in place of the basic forest. But then you're deciding, like, do I want to play a basic forest and more reliably have fetches available to cast Noble Hierarch, or am I playing a Boseiju and maybe like retooling my mana around so that I'm also playing just like 4 copies of Botanical Sanctum in the main? That way I can more likely have access to my Noble Hierarchs and stuff.
Right.
So if you want to play even really 1 Boseiju, there's a lot of decisions made for your mana. I would personally side towards not playing 1 in the main, but playing 1 in the
Really?
board.
Okay.
Because Noble Hierarch is so important to the deck that I don't know that you can really sacrifice your like Windswept Heath, Misty Rainforest part of the mana base. Because like, what if you're playing against Burn and you have like a Flooded Strand Windswept Heath hand? Well, now you're definitely taking 3 damage if you want to play a Noble Hierarch that's probably going to catch the business end of a Searing Blaze.
Right.
So like, I don't know that Boseiju is worth all of that risk, because that's going to be a thing that comes up quite a bit, especially since that's not the only hyper aggressive deck in the format right now. Like, we just saw that people were doing good with hardened scales. Rags is still good, and your life total matters against the blue red deck.
Yes.
Burn is everywhere. So there's a lot of stuff that we just don't really like have the ability to afford tooling around our mana because it's so specific in the Bant list. But I do like the option of 1 in the board because it's just really good, right? Like you fight Tron, you make their land suck. You fight Amulet Titan, it takes out half of their deck. You fight out Hammer Time, it takes out basically their entire deck. So
Right.
there's a lot of applications where it's really good.
Okay, well, before I go with my next thought, you can find this young man, Andre Segarra, at Rearranged AS on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Some Moral Imperative, you follow him. He also has a little store. You see that right there. He sells little Andre Segarra t-shirts that mimic rattle chains. Very cute. It's a Moral Imperative that I get one. So, I'm going to force Andre to be like, send me one.
Yeah.
Okay. But
I got you.
with that being said, follow him, Rearranged AS on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, Moral Imperative. Now, Andre, you're going to be like, what are you doing, Dwight? Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I played at my LGS, and I ended up going with 2 Janjo, Seed of the Empire, and 1 Atara in my main in Azorius. I ended up taking out the Horizon Lands, the blue-green one, and the Horizon Canopy, and then I ended up taking out 1 Moorland Haunt because I was like, I didn't feel comfortable with the Moorland Haunt, but then I ended up putting the Moorland Haunt back in and then removed the Cavern of Souls, 1 Cavern of Souls, because I was running 3.
Okay. I arrived at close to the same conclusion, with the exception that I didn't even consider removing a Moorland Haunt. I did just that was just not on the
because I was running 2 Moorland Haunt. That's why I was like,
nope. I ran 2 and I stayed with 2. That was never a consideration in my mind. But what I ended up doing is I run 1 Otawara and 1 Iganjo, and I ended up taking out, like, I'm not playing any Horizon Canopies. I was playing 2 previously. And I've also moved all the way down to 2 copies of Hallowed Fountain. And that was because I did expect more Burn, more Blood Moon to enter the format. So in the place of 1 of the Hallowed Fountains, I'm playing 1 Prismatic Vista.
See, I saw you put the Prismatic Vistas in there, and I'm like, And then I saw another young man who was following you. He ended up putting 2 Prismatic Vistas, and I was like, I like that tech, but I just don't know. I'm really a fan currently of the Janjo. I want to throw.
Oh yeah, Iganjo's really good.
Janjo. If I could put more in there, the happier I am, because I ended up playing. I ended up going toe to toe with an Amulet Titan deck. The Titan came at me. I was like, "You sure you want to do this, boss?" He goes, "Okay, fine, attack." I was like, "Not a problem. Fine, you get your 2 lands." Oh, I blocked with my Rattle Chains, which I was like, I hate to give up, but I was like, okay, fine. Oh, and a Janjo, your Titan is gone.
Nice.
Gone. Have a good day, sir.
You'll
And
love to
he
see
just looked at me and goes, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yay. That like I finally like Amulet Titan, such a thorn in Spirit player sides that it's just like finally we have something to just
yes. Oh yeah. No, I think the coolest thing I've gotten to do with an Iganjo so far is I had a blue-white control opponent just this last weekend.
Okay.
I'm swinging with a bunch of creatures, and only one of them is swinging it as Teferi Time Raveler. And my opponent has enough mana for exactly the Celestial Colonnade on his side of the table and 1 more mana. So he's holding up a counterspell mana. Well, he decided to block the 1 Supreme Phantom that was attacking the Teferi, took the rest of the damage to the face, and Iganjo got to kill his Celestial Colonnade in the face of his 2 open mana. Let me tell you, that was not a happy dude.
If I was him, I probably would have flipped the table. Just like,
you saw this, like, what? Like, he had a Teferi, he had open mana, like, I couldn't cast spells, I didn't have an Aether Vial on the table, so he thought he was super scot-free, right? It's like, oh man, that was a really bad attack, Dre. What are you doing? You're usually better than this at attacking. Well, joke's on you. So that was awesome. Like,
our reactive deck got more reactive. I love
them so much. They're so good. Like, I don't know about a second Iganjo, but I might try to fit in a second Otawara.
Really? Really,
And
I'm like I feel the Otawara, but it's just like it leaves me wanting.
that's
Honestly,
fair.
it's just because the fact that it's 4 mana and the
4
other
mana's
one's
a lot.
3. It's a lot. Now you are running Thalia, which lowers the mana count to to
Yeah,
3, so it's fair, but it does still leave me wanting.
that's fair. The reason I specifically wanted Otawara over Iganjo, if I were to include a second copy of either of those lands,
Okay.
is in Pioneer, again, Shark Typhoon is just such a big deal. Like,
Mm,
it's one of the very few cards that we just have a ridiculously hard time with no matter what. Like, most of the cards out of basically every other Shark Typhoon style deck, we handle really easily. We have like Selfless Spirits to handle Supreme Verdicts. We have Spell Quellers, Lofted Denials, Geistlight Snare, Mausoleum Wanderers to handle basically the entire rest of the format. And Shark Typhoon, we otherwise don't really get to do anything about. And for the longest time, I've been including Brazen Borrowers in my list, mostly just to combat that. It's an
mm,
okay threat, but let's be real, I would much rather have like, a Cemetery Illuminator or another Spirit or something like that if I didn't have to deal with Shark Typhoon. But now I can play Otawara and that still deals with Shark Typhoon.
right.
So that makes me a lot happier there. And in Modern, one of the few cards that we cannot deal with Skyclave Apparition is Murktide Regent.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
Otawara can reset that on its own with no other help. So
Mm,
in Iganjo, sometimes, like, if they have an 8/8 Murktide Regent, you really only have a couple of options.
mm,
In the blue-white Yorion list, sure, you can like resolve a Teferi, and then Teferi can bounce Murktide only for the Murktide to come back the following turn. Well,
right.
that's pretty annoying. Shacklegeist can tap it, which is great, but that's the deck that plays 4 bolts and 4 unholy heats.
Mm,
So, good luck keeping a Shacklegeist on the table if your opponent is smart.
right.
And it's relatively annoying to have to deal with the bigger threats that Otawara can deal with, but Iganjo can't,
Okay.
even if Iganjo is cheaper. With that said, I've also gotten I've gotten more super cool moments with Iganjo than I have with Otawara. Um,
Of course.
God,
I'm just saying, like, oh, you're
like
attacking? No. You're blocking? No. It's just
yeah, like getting to blow out your Hammer Time opponent when they try to attack you with an Ink Moth Nexus and they think they're so cool. They cost a Colossus Hammer and their Sigarda's Aid triggers and they tell you what their target is, and then you get to discard your land to blow them out. Whoo, chef's kiss.
exactly. That's why I love that card so much. It's
It's
just everybody's is so in love with Besiju, and I understand why Besiju is here. But for me, John just like just because I'm a spirit guy, it's so lovely. I love it.
Iganjo is like, it is absurdly good.
Well, let me ask you because like we are discussing your like we're going to bounce all over the place here, but we were discussing your deck list. You were running 2 drug school captains in your deck. Am I wrong in thinking this?
Oh,
Or
no,
was
no,
that the other guy's deck list that he was like, "Hey, Andre, check this out."
no. That was the one that somebody was pointing out to me. This weekend, I did run all 4,
Okay.
but in the past, what I have done is I've taken out 2 copies of Droxskull Captain in favor of Kira. But
Mm,
since I have gone back to playing Giver of Runes lately, I have
mm,
put in all 4 Droxskull Captain. I'm currently not playing Kira.
okay. And how's drug school? I mean, how is runes working for you?
I love it. I absolutely love Giver of Runes right now.
Okay.
Um, because one of the main focal points of the format, or at least what I thought was going to end up happening, is that with the absence of Lurrus, there were going to be a lot more decks excuse me, like Jund, like miscellaneous Grixis piles, all kinds of things that are just playing 100 million spot removals, right?
Right.
And that's one of the things that Giver of Rune shines against, is just like a giant pile of spot removal. So a lot of the times, and this happens often because I play 3 of each, I'll get to do like turn 1 Giver of Runes, turn 2 Thalia, and your opponent with their giant pile of removal is just like, come on, dude. And you're like, absolutely not. I am not here to give you reprieve. So, so it's like a nice little combination of cards that just makes your opponent's life really miserable.
Hmm.
And well, I'm looking right at the logo, so it's going to be fun to say, like, that's Bushi. Because so and it's really good when
Say thank you, Ravishing. Ravishing just
nice,
put it right
perfect,
there.
perfect,
That's
perfect. But it's really good when you make your opponent say something like that because of just like the interactions that you already have. So the more miserable they are, the better your deck is. But with that said, I did see the list with only 2 Droxco captains, and they're back to playing Kira for a lot of the same reasons, because you just want to blank your opponent's removal.
Right.
And it makes total sense to me because I've also done that in the past.
Right. No, I like. There's a part of me that's, like when you feel too comfortable, that your little baby blanket, the little thing that you hold here, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I know I got to give it up. But that's how I feel about Drug School Captain. I got to be honest with you. It's really hard, but I know that list. I'm like looking at that list, and I'm like, they're right. They are right currently to put 2 Drug School and putting Kira in there, but it's just so hard.
I don't blame you. Like, Droxco Captain is a really powerful lord. Like, honestly, as far as all the lords go in just various tribes of Magic, like, Droxco Captain might actually be like top 3 best lords ever. Like, it's
top 3. See, now I gotta ask you.
I'm trying to formulate a list.
Okay, because I'm sitting here like, okay, who is greater? What other lord is greater than Drug School Captain?
I am Elvish Archdruid. I would call Elvish Archdruid very, very slightly better than Droxco Captain. And it's like 10 to like 9.5.
Okay.
And I'm struggling to come up with another one that might be better than those 2.
Because I know Merfolk people are like, oh, Master of the Pearl Trident.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have played Merfolk. I play Merfolk in Legacy. The Merfolk lords are great, but like they are not Droxco.
I like the silver. I like the silver fur guy now. They're for the ninjutsu, the new one that just came out for Neon Dynasty. I like that one. That's cool, but it's not.
Oh yeah. No. The Ninja Lord it's a playable Magic card somewhere, but it's not on the same power level at all.
You know what I could consider is the I think it's the vampire. It's a red. It's a black.
Stromkirk Lord or whatever it's called.
Something like, and it gives them first strike. If I'm not
that
wrong.
one's not bad.
That's not bad. I mean,
I think the zombie one's better. Like, honestly, I think like there's like 5 zombie lords that are all better than that.
Like, really? Well, there's one that gives they have to take 2 to block. I forgot what that mechanic is called.
The Menace.
Yes, Menace.
Like,
there's one with Menace, and that came out with the. Oh God! Well, why is everything fading on me?
There's so many really good zombie lords, but even those are still not as good as Droxco Captain, and they're definitely not as good as Archdruid. Like, the zombie ones that are really good. Let's see. There's Death Baron, the one that gives all the
Death Touch.
Yep, like that one's really good. Diregraph Captain is really good. The one that +1s and it has draining gain whenever one of your zombies dies. That one's like absurdly good. Vampire Nocturnus is really good. The one that gives +2/+1 in flying.
Yep. But it has to be a black card on top, so it's like you have to be running mono black.
So you just like don't have a land on top of your deck basically in those decks because they're already black. But like that one's really good. Oh man,
see, it's hard.
This is gonna take some think now. There's a bunch of zombies that like make tokens and are lords too. I think those are all probably better than the Vampire Lord. But even still, none of those are on a level of Droxco Captain.
No, not even. Like, I was so happy that we ended up getting a new one, the new Spirit Lord. But that left me wanting to, because it's like, oh, we get to play spirits from our graveyard, yay! And we have none that come back from our graveyard, yay!
Yeah.
You said you look like you were about to say one. So what did you have?
I am. And this is going to be the one that I've been holding off here. So this one is going to make you mad because the card, just card for card, is better, but the tribe is terrible. Okay. And Lord of the Unreal.
Hold on, Lord of the Real. That's Illusions, right?
It is.
Okay.
It is Drogskull Captain and one cheaper, but it doesn't fly. But it's one cheaper. I think that is a better card than Drogskull Captain, but
Okay.
illusions are so bad that it doesn't matter.
I agree. Okay, then. Oh. Okay. I don't.
This is why I was trying to hold it off.
Okay, you're right. I hate to say yes, you're right. I don't like the fact that you're right. Like I want you to be wrong in this one. I like the guess always being right except for that, but you're right, Andre.
Yeah, like Drogskull Captain will definitely always see more play because spirits are just so much better than illusions, and that's not even us just being fans. Like,
No.
it's just kind of fact. Like
Mhm.
illusions tribal is not a thing.
I tried to build one and it was just like, oh, what an utter nightmare. No.
Right? Like even in the scenario where you get to just go like, cool, like I have Lord of the Unreal, Phantasmal Image on Lord of the Unreal. Outside of exactly that, the deck has nothing. And when you do have that, a single Tarmogoyf still blocks that entire deck for free.
You know what Illusions gets? I want to play this for my illusion people. Ready? 3, 2, 1. No sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what they get. You know, it's just no.
So, and then the other one that I would at least consider more seriously is Scion of Una. It's the 2 in a blue. It's a 1/1 flash. All other fairies get +1s and Shroud.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I why isn't fairies a thing? Like, I mean,
without being funny, they don't have good lords.
Yeah.
Like the reason, we can close out games because we have Supreme Phantom. Like you actually have to respect a Spectral Sailor when it's attacking for 2 a turn.
Yeah.
Nobody cares when it attacks for 1.
Right.
And fairies outside of exactly Scion of Una, how else are they getting extra power and toughness? Like Bitter Blossom is honestly pretty terrible as far as magic cards go.
Well, you have Ona's Blackguard. When a rogue fairy comes into play, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Like Una's Blackguard is one of the better ones, especially since like the whole discarding thing is a thing too. Like that's pretty cool.
Right.
But how else are they like generating the advantages and stuff that other tribes get? Like, yes, they have Spell Stutter Sprite, and that card is awesome. But like Spell Stutter Sprite versus Spell Queller, are you kidding me?
Why can't we get a Spell Stutter Sprite for spirits?
I dare them to let us have that. Mark Rosewater, I double dog dare you.
You heard this from Andre Segarra. He double dog dared you. I triple dog dare you.
Give me.
If you don't stick your tongue on a lamppost when it's 40 degrees and below. I'm sorry, I just watched too much Christmas Story. Poor flick.
Oh, right. Nice. It's actually a really funny aside about the Christmas Story too, because like I live in Syracuse, New York, so it is absolutely freezing here, like 8 months out of every year. It is terrible. The weather is awful. I do not recommend. So I just gave girlfriend Kristen a cool, new, really thick winter coat because she gets cold really easy. And her previous coat, the zipper busted, and that is not acceptable here. So I'm like, well, you just need a new coat. So here's like a giant new coat. And it's thick. It is one of those ones that like I could wear when we have negative 40-degree weather, which by the way is a real thing here.
What?
That it's a thing.
No, bro. No.
I
start moving south. Start moving south.
I know. I have so much family south.
I'm at the Jersey Shore. It was 70 degrees today. I went outside with them on my motor. That's why I didn't get back to you quickly. I was on my motorcycle riding for like an hour and a half. No.
I hope everybody feels every single bit of salt that's coming out of my face right now.
There was a lot of salt on the run. I had to be careful because a couple times I was like, oh shit, almost died and hit a tree. I almost became a tree folk.
Oh, Georgia's jungle. Watch out for that tree. But yeah, so she put on the coat and everything, and she could put her arms down, like that wasn't a thing. But I did the whole mimicking Ralphie thing, and I can't move. And so like that was pretty funny. But she's warm, so mission accomplished.
Well, let me just tell you, I don't know if you know that guy Flick. He ended up becoming a porn star. Just so
that's hilarious. His name is Flick and became a porn star.
Well,
Are you kidding me?
the kid's name in the movie was Flick, and and in real life he ended up becoming a porn star. He was actually in a movie called The Toy with what the hell is this guy? I love this guy, Richard Pryor,
Oh, okay, yeah.
called The Toy, and his name in the movie was Master Bates. His last name was Bates, so Master Bates.
Oh, universe, you are way too easy. Oh man,
See, I'm filled with so much bad 80s knowledge. It's horrific.
I can't say anything. Oh no, I'm not. Never mind. I'm wearing a red
You're in
shirt.
the 90s, probably to 2000s, baby. I'm like,
Oh, I was born in '84.
Oh, okay. So you're not that much younger. You're about
Yeah.
I'm about 10 years older than you, but that's okay.
Yeah, I actually thought I was wearing a Last Dragon shirt right now, but I'm not. I'm wearing a
Oh my
Boondock
god, I
shirt
love
instead.
that. You got the glow.
Yeah.
See, you have to be old to know The Last Dragon. It's a
Oh,
great, awful movie. Who's the
Oh.
master? Show enough.
The way I described The Last Dragon to my friends who haven't seen it yet, and for anybody who hasn't heard of this movie, this is a 100% real description of what this movie is. Dwight, you can back me up.
Okay.
It is a bad black 80s kung fu musical.
Yes. And you know who is the people who produced the movie?
I actually don't.
Motown.
Oh, cool.
So just so you're aware, like,
Yeah.
people are unaware. Yeah, Motown helped produce that movie. So it's just like
it is terrible and excellent, and it's my favorite movie of all time.
Well, let's get back to Magic here, but like
Okay.
with these new lands that we ended up getting,
Oh yeah,
we got the glow. That's all I'm gonna
we
say.
did. We did.
When we look at their opponents, like, you want to say that's Bushi, but who's the master?
Oh yeah, show enough.
Show enough.
But yeah, but Iganjo and Otawara have just been like the biggest low-key blessings for us. Like even more so than really any of the spirits not named Ascendant Spirit that we've seen in the last like 2 years. Like it's been so good. Both lands, like in Kamigawa's only been out for a few weeks now, and it's both cards have already just been absolute blessings in both Pioneer and Modern. Like I am straight up not going back on those lands.
Now, when the mono blue snow build, would you put a Tawara in there or not really?
I actually have a list that I'm gonna play around with. It currently has 2 copies of Otawara.
Really?
I'm playing 2 copies of Otawara, 2 copies of Faceless Haven instead of the more standard 3. That's my kind of compensation there. And then the rest is still just a giant pile of snow covered islands.
Okay. Let me just tell you, I love the snow covered mono blue snow build. I love that version. Don't get me wrong. I can play Bant. It's just very, very comparable to the modern version. I could play the Azorius build, just because the spheres, what the hell is it? Something of this Watcher of the Spheres.
Watcher of the Spheres is busted.
It's like a free Aether Vial in a sense for spirits. So my thing is, yes, those versions are great, but man, I really love the mono blue snow belt. There's something about it. I know Hirotsuki in Japan, he constantly 5-0s with this deck.
Yeah, I see his name on Goldfish and MCG Top 8 all the time.
He's just winning. Like I gotta have him on the show.
Yeah,
too.
I was gonna say,
I've reached out to Spell Queller. I've reached out to you. I think if hopefully if Hirotsuki is watching, come on the show. Hopefully
for sure
we can communicate with one another.
We'd love to see some dialogue from the other side of the world about spirits.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. But what else do you think is going like Magic otherwise, like in the spirit tribe? Like, are we in a good place? Are we in a bad place? What do you think?
I think that in Modern, our place has definitely improved, but you do have to actively skew your list somehow to deal with the removal piles that are going to see play. People are going to be playing more copies of Fury, more copies of Solitude. Fatal Push is going to come back to the format, so get used to seeing that. Murktide is probably the best deck in the format, so just get used to giant piles of Unholy Heat and Lightning Bolt. So you have to find some additional plan to deal with removal. Like I've done Giver of Runes, the other pilot went back to playing Kira's. Like you have to actively do something to combat the removal piles. But if you do that, you can get handsomely rewarded. Like D-Star just got 5th place in a Modern Challenge and then immediately followed up with a 5-0 league and then immediately followed up with a 4-1 league after messing up his mana to play Urza Saga, which Urza Saga is super powerful, but it's pretty hard to cast Skyclave Apparition. And he still went 4-1. So, that tells you about the power level of the deck right now if you decide to prepare yourself. As for myself, I've played 2 IRL tournaments in the last 2 months, and well, I can tell you it's been since January since I've lost a match of Swiss with Spirits IRL. Like
Wow.
it's been really good, but like both times I've actively gone out of my way to try to, beat removal piles. Like I've gone back to playing Giver of Runes. I'm, as always, playing Thalia. One of my builds had Chalice of the Void to try to deal with that, but that was also when Lurrus was in the format. Now I'm not playing Chalice because there's no Lurrus, but there's still some kind of anti-removal dedicated plan to make sure that your spirits can survive. Because if you can do that, let's be real, what in the format is dealing with your other part of your plan?
Right.
Like, if you can protect your creatures, the best part of playing spirits has always been that, including the control decks, we are by far the best deck in the format at dealing with a stack. There's literally nobody that's close to us that includes blue-white control. We are
not only are we great at the stack, it's the fact that we have Spirits is probably one of the most unique tribes where we protect our own. There's no other tribe that really protects their own. You got Rattle Chance, comes into play, hexproof. Drug School Captain, all your creatures have hexproof. You got, Mausoleum Runner to counter instants and sorceries. You got Spell Queller to get rid of any instant or sorcery that's going to affect you of 4 mana or less, or even board wipes, in a sense, with the mass board wipe for 2 white and a blue. I forget what it's called.
Oh, Supreme Verdict.
Supreme Verdict. Or then at the same time, you got the Selfless Spirit. You sacrifice that and it protects your entire board. I mean, Spirits is a unique tribe where it works so well together that they protect their own. No other tribe protects their own like Spirits.
It's true. Like, trying to play really any other mono creature deck right now, it almost feels like a mistake because of how much removal there is in the format. Like, you look at decks like Grixis, like Jund, like Blue-White Control, like the Red-White Stoneblade decks. All of those are playing... Oh, why did I never mention Yorion Blink? What am I doing with my life? Like, all of these
Money
decks...
Pile?
Money Pile, yeah. Like, all of these decks play just infinite removal, and we are the only creature deck in the format that can both provide a respectable clock and protects our creatures with the power of friendship. Like, we're full anime mode here, and it's so hard for opposing decks to deal with our creatures if we just go into the match with a plan. That's all we have to do.
Just change the name of our deck from Spirits That Come At Me, bro. That's basically what it is.
It might as well be, yeah. And the best part about it is that we have the flexibility to adjust, to make plans. If we want to be better against a stack, you can do things like I have, and you can just play Thalias in your deck, and you're instantly much better against the stack. If you want to play better against creatures like Murktide Region and stuff, you can just play like a 4th copy of Shacklegeist in your deck. You can play Brazen Borrower to bounce. You can do whatever you want in that regard. You can play like the Yorion version and play Solitudes and Marches of Otherworldly Lights if you really want to go hard body on removal. If you want to protect your creatures even more, you can play Kira, which is a spirit. Like, if you want to go full on hatred, well, you're already playing blue. Nobody likes playing against blue cards. And you're playing against white. Who likes playing against white sideboard cards? Nobody. And we have all the best options, whether they're attacking or not attacking. You can play Rest in Peace, which is strong, or Remorseful Cleric, which is on tribe and hateful. You can play Stony Silence if you want to play against Hammer Time, or you can play on tribe Kataki. Like, we have so many super sick options within the tribe that it's almost unreasonable to argue for playing another creature deck. So we don't.
Well, don't say that, Don. The Nikachu and TJ. Don't say that, because even though he's our friend,
I like Nikachu. Like, and like I said earlier, I play Merfolk in Legacy because Merfolk is amazing at beating up on lands.
What? No. Shame on you. No. I have had a young man on my show, Douglas Rosa from Brazil, okay?
Mhm.
From Rio de Sur, okay? That's how much I remember because I'm dying to go down there to have his Brazilian Rodizio. Let me just tell you, this young man has done exceptionally well in Brazil with a legacy deck and
I've seen
Spirit's Legacy. I've had him on the show multiple, like about 2 to 3 times. And let me just tell you, his deck list, delicious.
I have seen his list. He actually plays Cemetery Illuminator in Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fight against a graveyard deck, good luck beating that card. So like I actually like his deck a lot. I just happen to think that lands are more relevant in Legacy
Okay.
than like the stack is. I think it's lands are really just like the thing to be beating in Legacy right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are trying to play like against Dark Depths, if you're trying to beat Wasteland piles, then playing a pile of islands and your own wastelands and Tide Shapers to me was the perfect way to approach the format.
Mm.
And so far it's worked. Like I don't know, like it's gotten pretty good results for me. And if the format moves away from Dark Depths and towards more combo decks like the Epic Storm, like Reanimator, well, Reanimator's already pretty good.
Right.
And like other combo decks, I think that's when I would definitely sleeve up Spirits and just be like, all right, well,
Okay.
now it's time to beat up on some spells. But for right now, since I think the format is more centered around lands, I would stick with Tide Shaper. But as soon as it gets away from lands and goes back to spells, y'all are gonna have to deal with some Mausoleum Wanderers in Legacy again.
So that means that if Mark Rosewater's watching, Andre Segarra also wants Quarters Attendant, which is a what is it?
Was that the Ghost Quarter that you?
The Ghost Quarter Spirit. Just
Oh
saying.
man.
Just saying.
I will not
what
sit here
Andre
and
said.
lie. I definitely want to Ghost Quarter Spirit.
Thank you. See how I make great spirits here? Peekaboo and Quarters Attendant. Just saying, and they go with flavor.
Yeah, Quarters Attendant is really good. I would totally play that. And like, come in, blow up your Tron land, make you nice and miserable, come out with like a 1/1 flyer. What's
Oh,
to not like?
yeah, it helps out with what, like the reason why I thought of that land is because of Valley of the Dead. I think it's called
Oh, Field of Dead?
Field of the Dead. Thank you.
Oh,
That's when
F
I
that
thought of
card.
that. That's when I thought of the card. I was like, now it's like Ursatron. I mean, Ursa Saga. Perfect. Let's get that card. Let Watsy make that card for us.
Yeah.
Now we have an answer. Just saying.
Oh man.
Just saying.
Oh.
Make it a white card. One white. No mono white. No, like 1 mana, 1/1.
1 mana. I was happy with it at 2. I was thinking it was 1
Oh
and a white
no,
the whole time.
dude,
I
we
was
need
thinking like,
1 mana. We need a 1 mana
oh
creature.
man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was already happy with
I'll
it at
pay
2.
three.
I'm
Look,
definitely
I'll
gonna
pay
play it at
3
1.
mana to destroy a land. I'm willing to pay the 3 mana.
Oh, straight up destroy. That's okay. That's probably too good. But I was like, but 1 and a white to Ghost Quarter land. I'd be all
Okay.
over that.
Oh yeah. Okay, then we'll go with yours. I like that better.
Yeah, because you can do that. And in Legacy, I would totally play like 2 of those in the main, 2 of those in the board. I would still play all 4 copies of Spirit of the Labyrinth in Legacy,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the deck is already just good.
But you have to
So
sacrifice the spirit, though. Just saying.
I
But
mean, sure,
I'm
you can
okay
only
with it.
what sacrifice the spirit? No way. I'm
Well,
playing Yorion. I'm gonna just play all of them. I'm not
okay.
sacrificing anything. No. You're like Yorion Death and Taxes is already a thing in Legacy.
Okay.
Like, if we can just kind of side grade spirits instead. Oh, now I've got some work to do.
You're welcome.
You and Douglas Rosa. I got some work to do.
Telling you.
That could be fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, look out for that in a few weeks then.
I'm telling you, like he told, like me and him talked to him and his team called Manamox in Brazil. You know,
Okay.
I'm like, yo, Manamox up here. I'll be one of your team members up here. Yeah, I'll have a
Nice.
10th member. Just make sure you send me a shirt that's a double X or plus X, plus 1 more
Yeah.
X, just in case. Because I'm stretching this bad boy out now. It's like, ugh, the hell. Well, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is Andre Segarra, the Spirit Master. Okay, he does great. Did I mention the word great? Okay, content. He does great content on YouTube. it's a moral imperative to follow this guy. It's also he does it live streams on Twitch, moral imperative. And you know what? Great insight. Does talk about Pokemon Unity or Unite. Well, Unity,
Yeah,
right? You
Unite.
can find
Yeah.
him on Twitter at Rearranged AS, and he has a great merch store where you can buy an Andre Segarra t-shirt.
Oh, lots of
Just
sweet
saying.
stuff.
Just saying.
Oh.
So, Andre, is there anything else you'd like to share with the listening and viewing audience?
So for now, we got to talk about the Yorion list, which I think was amazing. Pioneer, I think that Spirits is much, much improved. Because we didn't get to go on that one quite yet. So we got to talk about like how good Otawara was there, but I think what impacted Spirits even more than Otawara was Lurrus leaving the format. Because if you look at the decks that Spirits typically loses to in Pioneer, it's all of the decks that can get under our counter spells. So if you look at, say, things like Boros Heroic, Boros Prowess, Mono Red, Black White Humans, all of those decks don't really give a crap about Geistlight Snare. They don't give a crap about Lofty Denial. But with Lurrus out of the format, all of those decks that were playing Lurrus have lost most of their power. So they can no longer beat the decks like Blue Black Control, Blue White Control. They might be hard pressed to beat like the Niv Mizzet piles. And all of those are decks that we have lots of game against. So if some of these more aggressive decks have a smaller share of the metagame because Lurrus has left the format, I think now is a great time to pick up Spirits and Pioneer.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here from the Spirit Master himself. If you ain't in Spirits and Pioneer, what are you waiting for?
Yeah,
for Pioneer to actually take off and be a thing, and next thing that deck's gonna be more expensive.
Right?
Just saying, look,
I mean,
you're at the bottom floor. You're at the bottom basement of the future of what Modern's going to be, because Modern is now legacy. Okay, just saying, Modern is now legacy. Pioneer is going to start becoming that new Modern. So instead of waiting till this goes up, and next thing you're like, oh, I wish I should have got this. I should have got that.
For real.
Just
And
saying.
the best part too, and I'll even sell your favorite list right now. So the mono blue snow version of Spirits in Pioneer, it's under $100 US. It is wow. But seriously, it's dirt cheap as far as competitive Magic is concerned, and it's good. Like I just did a full primer on YouTube, where I talk about the different versions of Spirits, Bant, and Mono Blue were the highlighted versions, and talked about why you would choose to play one of these decks over the other, why you would attack the format with either of these, what the differences between the two are, and the fact that Mono Blue is in that discussion for legitimately like an $80 or $90 price tag for the entire deck, including all of the snow-covered islands, is absolutely
Ridiculous.
absurd. Like it's
Ridiculous.
And if you're playing on Magic Online, the entire deck is literally $30 US. The entire deck. Like you have a competitive deck that I 5-0'd with more than once for $30.
Yep.
And like card for card, no substitutions, no budget considerations, nothing. You just get to play the exact list and it's good. So I would totally recommend jumping on that right now, especially since, they're trying to bring Pioneer to relevance with like a lot of these Star City team events, a lot of series like NRG and those folks are just doing Pioneer events alongside their modern stuff. A lot of people are getting away from standard / alchemy / arena and exactly in favor of more IRL events, which hopefully means even more Pioneer events. We talked about this last year, but the existence of the Challenger decks even implies that Wizards of the Coast actively wants people to be playing Pioneer. So,
well, there was a leak on the latest Pioneer Challenger decks that came out. So I mean, this is the second year in a row they're putting it out. So I mean,
exactly. Like the first ones were a relatively solid hit because like they were all cheap and good decks, and now
they were the top 4. They were the top 4 decks in Pioneer. Now I guess they're doing the top 8. I guess what's in there.
And now I was gonna say now we're just getting more of the same. So they're clearly pushing the format, which means that if we have a universe in which we're not worrying so much about COVID anytime soon, we might get things like Grand Prix or Magic Fests or whatever those might be called, and hopefully some of those are Pioneer. Like that'll be really exciting. So I think it's a great time to
Oh,
jump on this.
what happens is I just, I have the image of it. There's like a
Yeah.
red black Rakdos sacrifice deck, then a
Okay.
white red green Winota deck,
Ugh.
Naya Winota deck,
Yuck.
4-color combo, which is white, red,
Oh,
green, and blue,
that must be Fires of Invention. Okay.
and then some some type of artifact deck, which is white, blue. But
Oh,
that's with
that's
the
Soul Artifact.
Soul Snare, but it's kind of funny. It has Lurrus in the deck.
Oops. To be fair, so did the Orzhov Auras deck that they put out last year.
Oh, that's
Whoopsie.
right. Wah, wah, wah.
Yep.
So,
So
get
yeah,
to
so
use
I
the
don't know
toys
what
in the show. Nice.
yeah. So I don't know what if anything they're gonna do about that. But the fact that they have all of these decks and they're bringing again a lot of relevance to the format, and with 8 challenger decks. Remember, these challenger decks released for less than 50 US each.
Hmm.
So like you can get good competitive decks for less than $50 a piece, and that's really absurd. Like I did a whole highlight on the spirits deck, the Azorius
Same here.
spirits list, and I even like played it in a league on Magic Online, and with 0 alterations out of the box, I was able to go 3-2 in a league.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
like all I did was I copy pasted the exact list that comes in the challenger deck, and I was like, hey, okay, so this is the list that exists. This
Hmm.
is what I would choose to play if I were to actually upgrade it. But to show you that this deck is relevant and good and we can play it out of the box, I'm going to play it out of the box.
Okay.
So I did
Wow.
and ended up going 3-2 and just beating a bunch of decks. Like we played against Winota, which is normally a terrible matchup, but we beat that.
Mm.
What else did we play against? I think I played against like some mono green aggro, maybe burn or something. Like just a
Mm.
bunch of like relevant, good, actual meta decks.
Right.
And 3-2 right out of the box. Like we didn't even
Wow.
have to like add in the good lands or anything because the mana base was terrible out of the thing.
Mm.
But I was just like, Spirits is so good, we can overcome this.
Okay. Wow. I was gonna say like, wow, like I didn't expect a deck out of the box be that good. Honestly,
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah, no, Spirits is
I'm
awesome.
stupefied. I'm like right now. You left me speechless. I'm like, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it was awesome. Like I didn't expect to do that well right out of the box, but that's exactly what happened. Like, just flying in protection is real good, and even when
Mhm.
it's budgeted, flying in protection is still real good. And it
So,
goes to show that when you put the effort into learning the deck, never mind playing it right out of the box, you can be very handsomely rewarded.
mhm. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Go out there, buy your Pioneer Spirit Challenger decks right now, while you can before they disappear from shelves, and you're gonna go, why didn't I play Spirits and Pioneer?
Yep. You're gonna go ahead and play some aggressive deck like Black White Humans, and you're gonna do well for 2 tournaments, and then you're gonna get sad when your companion gets banned, and then you'll wish you'd played Spirits.
And that's Bushi. Oh, so you keep on talking about IRL. So anything else magical happen at your IRLs that you do? Like for those who don't know, you can find Andre because he loves to go to this shop called Larger Than Life. It's in Syracuse, New York. Now you're gonna go, is that by the university? And you go, no, it's on the complete opposite direction of the town. So it's a great shop. Andre, tell them about Larger Than Life real quick. Oh, you went mute on me. Uh oh. Uh-oh. Unmute mic. You went mute. You muted yourself, pal. No? Did we mute him? I do not have him mute over here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Whew. That
What
was.
what what happened?
I do not know. I just muted everything and then unmuted everything in an attempt to fix it, and I guess it worked.
Okay, because I know like you were unmuted on our side. It just said mute on your side. I was like, what the hell? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking. I'm like, why do I have a little mute icon. What's going on? I didn't press anything.
No,
All
it
right.
is what it is. Tell us about a little larger
But yeah,
than life.
so yeah, so Larger Than Life, it's a store that I generally play at when I do play Magic, and they are right in Syracuse on the other side of the city from the university, but it's still a great place to go. So I go there. They have these $3,000 tournaments every month. They're
Wow.
modern, and people show out when the weather's nice enough for people to. Like we've had some relatively big names show up, like Eli Cassis played at 2 tournaments ago.
Wow.
Didn't this weekend, of course, because it was the championships and everything that he ended
Well,
up winning, so it was justified. Um,
but you would kick his ass anyway, so it doesn't matter.
about that. Eli's
That's bullshit. No.
real good. It's actually really funny. I think the only format that I've beaten him in recent memory actually has been with Modern Spirits.
Really?
And I think
Okay.
everything else absolutely destroys me because, well,
Okay.
he's real good at Magic. Like absurdly good.
That's all right.
But
Just practice makes perfect.
oh yeah. So we've got like a lot of relevant players. Like it's a huge player base, and the tournaments are worth it. There's lots of inventory in stock all the time. The store's clean, which is pretty important. It's buy a bunch of food. There's really nothing to not like as far as Magic tournaments are concerned.
Okay.
So I like to go and have a good time, socialize, all that stuff, because I don't know if everybody listening is out of isolation yet, but around here, socialization is kind of hard to come by still. So
Really? Okay.
so it's good that just any IRL Magic is a great excuse to like leave your house and do something for a day.
Amen, brother.
And if you can win some store credit along the way, awesome. So it's been a pretty good time in the last few months since they've started running these $3,000 tournaments every month. And the best part is they lead up into like an end of year championship thing where you get points every time you play one, and you get more points if you place well. And at the end of the year, whoever has the most points gets some amount of store credit. And then, it kind of trickles down to like, I don't know, 8th or 16th or something. And that's just for already participating in these same tournaments.
Wow.
So you have incentive to play throughout the course of the entire year. But they're $3,000 tournaments, so you already want to play throughout the course of the year.
It doesn't hurt. To me, I wish I had your shop near me. Unfortunately, I got these, they're LGSs, they're mom and pops, it's just like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But they're, Greg's games, like I support at 2103 Whitehorse, Mercerville Road in Hamilton, New Jersey, 8619. It's a young man who owns a shop, and he's, it's not his primary means, but
Okay.
it's his. He said, I love Magic. I want to have a place where I can play Magic, but I want to have employees and let them do what they got to do. And so far I'm supporting. I like it.
Word. Good.
I'm all for it.
That's awesome. No, it's always really good to at least have one place that you just like enjoy playing at, if absolutely nothing else. Just a good positive environment. Really, that's all you can ask out of an LGS.
Amen. And people that use deodorant and wash. Just saying.
That's a huge plus. Like anywhere you can go and you can like tell that people might actually practice good hygiene. Whew, it's so nice. Or at the very least, the absence of really poor hygiene.
Well, all I know is that I was wearing a mask, so I can't smell anybody but my own breath. So that's a positive.
That's a positive. If you can smell somebody else through your mask, whew.
I've had that before, where you just go,
Oh, I can. I mean, you're working as a nurse, I can only imagine the smells you've smelled, man.
oh, bro, it's pretty bad. But I remember seeing this one young man. Not I'm not going to make fun of him, but he was covered in acne. He was greasy. He looked like he combed his hair with a pork chop. It was just, dude,
Gotcha.
just
I have
soap and water, my friend. Soap and water.
Yeah, I have seen those types before, and it's just like, man, I'm an older Magic player now. Can I just like assume the dad role and like take him aside and be like, hey, man, I don't want to embarrass you in front of everybody, but this talk needs to happen. So I want to take you away from your friends and have this talk with you.
Yeah,
And
I know how you feel.
yeah, now that I'm almost 40, I'm a lot more comfortable doing that than I would have been like 10 years. Like I will be straight up honest with you. Like I'm not out to embarrass anybody's kid, but if somebody stinks and this is something I think I can help with, I'm gonna ask if I can like, take you like 30, 40 feet away from your friends and have that conversation. Because it's like,
Go,
well,
go to the bathroom and have a French bath. Just go. Just please.
it's like, hey, can I talk to you real quick? Like, away from your friends. Like, I got something I want to say, but I don't want to be too rude to you.
Oh man, that's
like, it's an uncomfortable talk to have, but like, like who else is gonna have these conversations? Clearly, nobody in their friend circle. Otherwise, they wouldn't have left the house like that.
I hear you. That's the fun of IRL. In real life magic.
So,
well, Andre, is there anything else you want to share with the viewing and listening audience?
no, so not for today. So I'm
Okay.
gonna say to like look out for more content in the future because I do have some stuff planned, and
Okay.
now I've got a new deck list to apparently work on.
There
So
you
that'll be
go.
kind of cool whenever that happens in the next few weeks. But I'm gonna be doing a lot more stuff on YouTube. I'm trying to get a lot better at the production and like just making things look and sound better part of things.
Mm,
So look forward to that.
there you go.
And yeah, there's just gonna be a lot of cool stuff planned. I've also oh, this is gonna be considered an announcement, which is kind of
Oh,
cool.
okay.
So
Breaking
I am
news.
right. So I haven't even put this on Twitter or anything. So I'm actually planning a second YouTube channel as well, where
Okay.
instead of just gameplay and stuff like I'm doing now, I'm gonna end up doing a lot more of the, I guess, kind of fun, casual, maybe informative sometimes side of Magic stuff as well.
Okay.
So yeah, that's gonna be a work in progress over the next like month or so, but I expect it to be a pretty good time. I've already got a couple of people who signed on for like one huge project that I'm hoping just looks as nice as I expect it to. Most of the planning is done for that already.
Okay. Awesome.
And like just yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun when it does come around, and I'm hoping that it actually like does pretty well and that I can of course devote time to it.
Right.
Because that currently just is the hardest part. Like I just
Mm,
time in Magic is yeah.
very tough. Like me personally, like doing the content is the fun part. I just started learning MTGO. I told you my struggles where it's just
Mhm.
like it's absolutely frustrating. Like trying to do stuff on it. Like I can do it in real life. I know how to play Magic in paper. Just
Yeah,
MTGO world is just
it's different.
it's just frustrating. So like you will I am going to start filming myself playing
Okay,
Magic, MTGO. So I mean,
cool.
I don't expect 5 O's right away because I'm still learning MTGO, but expect a lot of good 2 and 3s and threes and twos.
Hey,
I'm
like
getting
as
humble.
long as
I can kick ass thoroughly with spirits. I know the ins and outs of spirits, but
mm,
just the MTGO thing, it's just
it's new, it's difficult.
oh, I
There's
get
a
like
steep learning
aneurysm
curve.
right here.
I I can see the line throbbing in the middle of the forehead from here.
Yeah, my head's shaped like a peanut M&M. You kidding me? It's just right there.
uh,
So, for
but
those
yeah,
who are unaware, you can find Andre once again at Rearranged AS on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. He has a merch store. Please support him. He's a great content maker. And also, you heard it here first. He's going to start doing different things. Oh, we got a thing here. Hey, bring it up, Renata. Hey, Dre and Blanco. Thanks for the spirit content. Thank you, Macro.
what up, Macross man? How you doing?
There you go.
Actually,
Thank you, bro.
yeah, I actually peep you in the comment section pretty often, so glad to have you.
Well, thank you for coming in and watching the show. So I got nothing more here, but remember, ladies and gentlemen, hit that follow, like, subscribe button on my show and on Andre's show. And hopefully, Andre, you'll come back on sometime soon. I mean, we have
Oh, yeah.
the Streets of New Capenna coming out.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited to see with the new Triumph lands. So
Right.
I'm excited to see what we get there, and who knows what the future provides for spirits. I think a bright future where we're kicking names and taking ass, or no, yeah, I think I said it right. I don't care, but we're gonna do stuff out there where we're gonna do exceptionally well in the
Oh,
spirit
yeah.
community, and like I said, ladies and gentlemen, keep your heads up. We're doing things, and what more can I say? Ready, Ravishing.
Yeah.
All right, the next time you're kicking your opponent's ass, make sure they say, "That's bullshit. We're out of here."